We often define leadership by the volume of a person's voice, but true influence is actually measured by how kindly you treat the smallest voice in the room. This requires a level of awareness that comfort, the silent thief of destiny, actively works to destroy. Time moves regardless of whether we do. When we choose to remain still, we aren't just resting, we are becoming stagnant. In the design of creation, every achievement is a milestone rather than a fulfillment, because stagnation is effectively death. This lack of movement creates a state of dis-ease within the body. It is a disruption of our natural operating rhythm, where the friction of daily life begins to grind our internal gears to a halt. When we drift through life instead of striving, we lose the map to our fundamental route and our intended route. We become a human system that has forgotten its purpose, initiating a slow cycle of decay. In this state, we become mindful rather than mindful. We clutter our consciousness with the ego's demand to be the loudest voice in the room, creating a layer of internal noise that makes growth impossible. Our modern environment is a feedback loop of distraction. Data shows 70% of these interruptions are entirely self-inflicted, loops we choose to enter. These choices carry a heavy tax. A mere 3-minute distraction triggers a 23-minute recovery period before the brain can fully refocus. This constant fracturing of attention creates an unstable base for the personality. It keeps us trapped in a low-frequency cycle of udar and enrage, accumulating debt and frustration until we are locked in a cage of our own making. The external static becomes so overwhelming that we can no longer hear our own internal signal. We aren't living. We are merely reacting to the noise. Breaking out of this static requires the fire of challenge. Growth is born in discomfort, requiring us to trade the safety of the drift for the effort of the strive. Choosing to evolve, or even to forgive, is as difficult as grass shoots forcing their way through burnt soil. It is a violent, necessary push against a harsh environment to reach the light. To sustain this, we have to change our connection. We must disconnect from the external internet of distraction and plug into an internet designed for our own evolution. Action is the only thing that silences fear. When you move into the roar of action, the quiet voice of doubt loses its grip on your potential. Like a spiritual tree, roots process the heavy "an" of experiences into fuel. Rising energy forms a protective canopy, turning struggle into service. The blue throat melts internal resistance, clearing the enrage and ego. Your Vani becomes a sweet signal, connecting directly to the cosmos. This structural alignment is the prerequisite for tuning. You cannot receive a clear signal if your antenna is broken or grounded in the mud of distraction. When the internal static is cleared, dis-ease is replaced by ease. This is the natural state of a system that has stopped fighting itself and the universe. Ease functions as an active, natural process. It is the rhythmic momentum of a life in tune with its environment, requiring no more effort than the lungs require to breathe. We see this principle in the macrocosm. The sunrise, the rotation of the planets, and the flow of the tides all operate with this same frictionless mathematical precision. Living in true ease requires a constant release. By letting go of internal resistance, you begin to match the effortless, relentless momentum of the universe. With the antenna cleared and the system at ease, the human mind begins to resonate at specific mathematical signatures found throughout the natural world. The first major anchor is 528 Hz. This is the frequency of love, not as an emotion, but as a stable foundational vibration that grounds the entire system. As the alignment deepens, the frequency shifts higher. It moves through 888, the signature of abundance and timeline shifting, until it hits 1111, where the path forward gains absolute clarity. The peak of the scale is 777. At this point, you achieve full spectrum activation, a state of divine protection where your internal signal is perfectly synchronized with the universal broadcast. This is the ultimate evolution of leadership. By tuning your antenna to these higher frequencies, you no longer need to be the loudest voice. You become the person who, by simply standing in a room, possesses a signal so clear that it treats the smallest voice with kindness and silences the static for everyone else.